You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Hi, hello, welcome to the Mushie Moment for today. Today is May 16th, 2023, and we are here live on paceradio.net and cbgtv.com through Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Boxcast and LinkedIn and all of those places. You can find us pretty much everywhere. Just search us up and we are there. You may notice that I am alone here in the host chair today. It's not that my co-host isn't here, it's that he is going to play a different part on today's show. This has actually been an interview that I've been looking forward to for a while. I get to sit and chat with Steve on a regular basis, and we have some pretty profound conversations, either about just life in general or the work that he does. And today I get to have that chat with him, with everybody else here. We're able to share some of what he does with everybody. And I'm really excited about it. Steve is a very good friend of mine. He is somebody who I admire. I cherish in my life. He has a lot of compassion. He has a lot of kindness and a lot of patience. And I met him as he was coming into the world that he's now in. He tells me that before he was much shyer. And that's not the man I know. The man I know is my co-host, Steve Mather. And, from watching previous shows, I'm sure that you all can see that he is, he's a great guy and he's a character. And the man that he explains to me before psychedelics does not seem like the same man he is today. But I don't want to tell his story. I want him to tell his story. So without further ado, I would like to introduce everybody to usually my co-host and today my guest, Steve Mather. Hi, Steve.
Good day.
Hi. How are you today?
It looks like I'm in the same seat as the co-host.
Well, just a second. I can fix that.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, there
now
we
you're
go.
bigger than me. And actually, I could even do it this way. Ooh, there we go.
Oh, no. Get rid of that mug. There we go.
You can go back to this way. Well, welcome to the hot seat on Mushie Moment, Steve.
I've been actually sitting here wondering what's about to happen because you haven't given me any insight. So, yeah.
No, well, if you've been watching our show from the beginning, you know that our favorite question, but today it's my favorite question to start every show off with is, what introduced you to psychedelics? What brought you here? What started it all?
Psychedelics has been a long journey for me because it started in my teenage years, but psychedelics for healing just started. Conscious use of psychedelics for healing just started in the last few years. After 2016, probably about 2017 is when I'm consciously aware that, these help with CPTSD and PTSD, and they can help you get out of that pit of depression, anxiety, and negative emotion that trauma can put you in. So, but prior to that, my first introduction to mushrooms, I can't remember my exact age. Got to be between 16 and 18. I would be more inclined to think it's probably in the 17 because my buddy Byron had his own van and we were off out to the lake and it was the first time ever doing mushrooms for both of us, and we did them in the afternoon. you know, did enough that it lasted through the night. And as the sun went down, the auras of the plant life and living life around, even over the water, there was just an aura, glow, the energy. You could just watch the energy dance. And that particularly stuck in my mind. At that point, I didn't know that I would, become an audio guy and start studying frequency and then learn about frequency and vibration and patterns. And none of that at that point. But as my journeys continued, I realized that, that's what I was seeing. The mushrooms, whatever they did, not knowing at that time, whatever they did, they brought me to the point where I could see and acknowledge that it existed. And then, the first time I ever did acid, I didn't even know I was doing any. I was at Calgary Stampede, and standing outside of a discotheque, because disco was big back then. And these two girls came up and they started talking to me, and the one goes, "Open your mouth." And I open my mouth, and she puts a little piece of paper in my mouth. I chewed it up and swallowed it. I said, "Didn't taste like anything. What was that supposed to be?" She goes, "Have you ever done acid?" And I said, "No." She said, "You have now." And yeah, it went on to be an evening of similar to what had happened with the mushrooms, but way longer.
Yeah.
It
very
was
much longer.
And from then on, I got to say, I've experimented and utilized both. And in hindsight, I'm recognizing that even though I didn't know it, I was using them. They did what they did for the trauma. They would quiet the brain and give me peace for a while.
Yeah.
And I'd be rocking in that realm. And in 2016, I found out I had PTSD, and then that, actually, I heard those letters. That's PTSD, and that was like, oh, what's that? Post-traumatic stress disorder. And then, in trying to find my way out, it's CPTSD. It's complex. From actually in the last few sessions that I've done, I was shown that it's actually at my birth. I come in, I'm a preemie baby, born early under traumatic situations, and I'm a trauma baby.
Yep.
So
and it can start there. I don't think there's a birth that isn't traumatic to the baby. What we're going through in those moments is traumatic. But if you're a preemie, or if you are, breech, or if anything goes wrong, it multiplies that trauma greatly.
Well, and with the preemie, I'm in the age where you're incubator baby.
Yeah.
So, and the stuff that I've been listening to Gabor Mate speak about, the man's brilliant. The way he sees things is incredible. But, he gets into the subtle traumas as well. So, one of the subtle traumas that he talks about is just the child being taken away from the mother and not able to see the parent when they're crying or communicating and they need that love. And they're in an incubator. They ain't getting it. Yep. So I didn't know, like I've listened to Gabor Mate for quite a while. I've listened through all his addiction stuff because, our family has people in addiction, etc. And, in through the psychological aspect of trauma and stuff. And I didn't know how much he was speaking to me when he talked about his own story, that those moments, I would listen to them, but it wasn't until a month ago, not even, that I learned that my trauma starts early there. Yeah. And he talks about how his mother had to give him away. And then in that time period, even though it was only for a few weeks, there's an abandonment that comes on, or a program that I am unlovable, or those are the two main core ones that he gets into. He gets into some subsidiaries of what that causes within your life. but it writes that initial program.
But let's get back to you. We're not here to talk about Gabor, as fascinating of a man as he is. That's not the topic of conversation. Let's go back to 2016, 2017. You've now realized you have CPTSD. You're taking a look back at the traumas, and now you're going to learn how to utilize psychedelics, mainly mushrooms, if I'm correct, to help heal yourself from those injuries.
Well, I go down the PTSD rabbit hole, and I start, researching published studies. What have we got for it? What's the science? What do we know about it? What do we know about how to repair it? What are our success rates in what we're utilizing for it? And I find they suck.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. And they can give me the same drugs they've put me on my whole life to try and mitigate the behaviors that are part of the trauma, but they don't fix the trauma. Mm-hmm. And, I saw a couple of psych doctors, but it wasn't till I found my last doctor that, and he worked with me through with the psychedelics and the microdosing, that he was the one that could explain where the behaviors sat and why they were there. Stuff I would learn from Gabor, he would link to me. He would go, oh, that's this in here, and this is probably why this is happening. And the biggest thing he kept saying is, no, you're not crazy, but you're way overthinking. You got to quit overthinking the overthinking on the overthinking that you're doing.
Yeah, and that's a trauma behavior. I mean, because I suffer with the overthinking as well. As anybody who has suffered trauma, we overthink.
Oh yeah.
And we focus on different things, but we overthink, and it can be detrimental.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah.
So let's see, 2016, I find out about it. 2017, I've buried myself in research. I've been working on my healing. I've achieved a certain level of physical healing by that point. And I'm just down the rabbit holes of how to heal the brain. And the rabbit holes took me down a lot of Reddit blogs. I was looking, once I got through the published studies and stuff, I went for where's the people that have found success? Where's the bloggers that are saying, I've tried this and it works? All I was looking for was tools in the toolbox. Give me as many tools as I can have. I'll work through them and I'll find out which ones will work for me. Yeah. But, at this point, it was just get the tools. And what kept coming up on my radar was psilocybin. But at that point, it wasn't talked about like it is now. People were subtle in the use of where they were putting it. It took, for me, seeing that word a lot of times before I went, I need to look at this. And I started to go down that rabbit hole. Now, I have a friend of mine that, he's 30 years in the nutrition and nootropics and health industry, supplements industry. And, I would bounce things off of him and I would go, what do you know about this? Do you know, what is there? I'm looking at this and this for trying to affect these things in my brain. I want to bring my anxiety down. I want to bring my focus in. I want to, and I'd gone through a whole bunch of stuff. And then I'd fire it over to him and he would go, hey, you might want to adjust this or you might want to look at that. And through that, I started to find things that were working for me. And then it was just a matter of adjustments. But I had to find mushrooms. And mushrooms, they're not legal and they're not that easy to find, especially at that point. I was lucky that some friends of mine have a friend who is now my partner in what we're doing, John. And he was already helping PTSD people. He's a PTSD guy himself. He was making chocolates with mushrooms in them. He knew how to access the mushrooms. So, I came up, asked him if I could buy some mushrooms to try and put these things together that I was going to be working on. He was like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm trying to find my way out of PTSD. Yeah, what are you doing? So I told him, I worked out this blend of mushrooms, a 7 blend of mushrooms, and then, some other adaptogens and herbs. Ashwagandha is a good focus and calmer. And, it gives you energy. Siberian ginseng gives you a little bit more physical energy, because I would find I'd be down. I'd be in fetal position for way too long, and I wouldn't feel like doing things. So I was looking for things that would motivate me to get things done. And Bacopa or Brahmi, it's also called, is in there again, another calmer and focus. And the synergistic abilities of how the things all blend, just in all the research, it should work.
Yeah.
So I put them together, and then it was a matter of dosing, because I was like, okay, well, I started out at 0.25. That's what I'd had a product called Scooby Snack for quite a while that I did, and it was 0.25. Yeah, it's 0.25 with some, I didn't know when I was doing those that was a form of microdosing, and I wasn't making them. I had friends that would take lots of them and get high, but I was making them because I'd be doing them one at a time, casually throughout the day, and they would hold me out of that depression and in a good place. And self-medicating without actually knowing that that's what I was doing. It was just, I didn't know. I didn't know I had trauma, so I didn't know I was medicating. But I knew it worked for my excessive mayhemic behavior, and it would curb that excessive behavior that could.
The manic that comes with the PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah, my PTSD has a real, when I feel trapped, I go manic, and when I go manic, my mouth just goes. Yeah. The medicine, just so everybody knows, the medicine, the mushrooms, wow, changed my life. It's I just don't have those episodes anymore. They just don't happen, and they haven't for a while now.
So, I mean, let's go to John and you. Like now you're talking, you've come up with this product. And we've had John on the show before. And not to take away from any of your story, but somewhere around this time, as you're coming up with this formula and you're taking it and it's working for you, your good friend looks at you and says, you can't keep this to yourself.
Well, to begin with, he says, well, what are you putting in them? So I tell him, I go through, it's just different mushrooms, mushrooms that are in there, the ashwagandha, the ginseng, the Bacopa monnieri. And his daughter was a nutritionist, and she was sitting there. I noticed her nodding her head. And then he said, oh, this is my daughter, Sam. She's a nutritionist. And they kind of said a few things. And then he said, can you leave some for me? I want to try them. I'm PTSD, and I'd like to try them. So I did. I left some with him. And then he said, I'd like some of these for some of my friends that are in PTSD. We'd like to try them. And then he said, you can't keep this to yourself. You don't get to. This has got to be shared. This can change lives, and it needs to be shared. And thus began the beginning of a great partnership, a great friendship, and the company At-Eze. Oh, look at you! Yes, it's grown to a lot more products, but the initial thing is the original blend, which was as we went along. Oh, look at you! So the original blend, that's the one I was just talking about. And then as I went along, because I didn't stop researching, I just kept going. I want to learn more. There's got to be a way out, and there's always got to be remedy somewhere. There's remedy, and it's just a matter of finding it. So as I kept looking for remedy, and and I would get input, right? Because now other people were using the product. So I would get input. I'm getting real-time input. Oh, I wish it would. I wish it could. So then I started to look up the things that would accommodate what other people were looking for, as well as it was working, but I knew there was more. So, I started to learn more about the individual mushrooms and what they did. I found lion's mane. The research on lion's mane was massive. Heals brain tissue, heals nerve endings, heals the telomeres on the end of the nerve endings. You combine that with the psilocybin, and the psilocybin sparks the neuroplasticity, tells the brain, hey, you can heal. It squishes the amygdala to stop that fear generation or the negative signal, which it immediately brings you into a calm. And, then it starts repairing the damage. And so, the second one that came about was the main event, which was the lion's mane version. And that has different nootropics in it. That's got alpha GPC, magnesium L-threonate, L-theanine, niacinamide, and some of the other herbs and adaptogens as well. When I made that one, I had come to the realization that the other 7 mushrooms don't need to be microdose. And if I was to use the microdose more efficiently with the other things, I could just blend the mushrooms into a powder and then put them in my coffee and drink them, or put them in capsules and eat them. And I could do teaspoons or 2 or 3 teaspoons and promote more of that aspect of the healing, the reishi, what it does for the immune system, what it does for the gut biome, what it does for brain healing, the turkey tail in battling different disorders and cancer and immuno disorders. So when the lion's mane came about, so did the immuno blend, which is the 7 mushroom blend with rhodiola.
I don't have that to show anybody.
It comes in both the capsule form, because some people just can't eat the powder, and it comes in a powder form. Now it's the 7 mushroom blend. This particular blend is a little higher with the lion's mane because it's focused for that brain aspect. It has the rhodiola added for a little extra calm. It's a beautiful blend, actually. And, at that point, it was like, oh, now we've got 3 products. And then, people started to say, well, I can't sleep on either of those. Have you got something you could sleep with? And then came the evening blend. And and that blend, again, is a different blend of nootropics and adaptogens, and it's more of a rhodiola base in there. But again, it was designed for added calm. It's actually a good daytime added calm one as well.
Yeah.
And, for myself, I kind of I rotate the blends when I use them. I just rotate them and get the best of all the worlds myself. And the mushroom powder, it's just a staple in my shake and in my coffee. It's, you honestly just do it. I don't care even if you're not doing ours, I don't care. Do it, research it, do that. It's immense.
I recommend, though, I have tried the powder in my tea and my coffee. I find it's very bitter, so I prefer the caps. I'd rather take 5 caps, just because that way I don't have to taste it, but I still get the benefits of it. It's an amazing product. You've come up with amazing products. I have personally been using your microdoses for almost 2 years now. And I swear by them. I mean, like I've had other microdoses around, and I don't use them. I mean, like, I'm happy with these. There's 4 blends, and between them, there's everything that I think a person could want in a microdose. You've done a wonderful job.
No, thank you. And I'm actually honored that that I'm honored you use them and they work for you. I'm humbled constantly by the people that say thank you.
Well, they're fantastic. And this all, while you're doing this, you're also working in the cannabis side of things as well, and creating cannabis creams and edibles. Are you not?
Well, I worked I didn't so much work, but I helped cancer people battling cancer that were looking for natural means of battling the cancer. One of the big things in there is the what's known as RSO, or Rick Simpson oil, or it's called Phoenix Tears. Rick Simpson called it Phoenix Tears. The tears of a phoenix heal anything. And the newer groups and the people I associate with, we tend to call it FECO, full extract cannabis oil.
Yeah.
And I was involved with. I have my cannabis license, and I was utilizing it for myself for my PTSD and other health issues. And I started to share it with cancer people, and that end of things kind of grew in my research, because I'm a research nut. And I went down the rabbit holes of cannabinoids, our endocannabinoid system. If you haven't researched our endocannabinoid system out there, please do. It's our second largest system, second only to our nervous system. And we've depleted it for 3 generations. It's a massive cause of disease. For our bodies to fight disease, we need our CB1 and CB2 receptors activated in our endocannabinoid system. Just a side note. Anyways, with working with that, I learned that every organ in our body has cannabinoid receptors, either a CB1 or a CB2, and our skin is our largest organ. My daughters were torn apart by a dog and covered with scars. And Katie has like over 200 scars on her body, and Jessie has over 50 of them, and they're vicious scars. It was a brutal attack. And so I did some research on, what I could put together that would lessen the scarring and just help them feel better. So I created a product that it's called Mother's Magic. My mother was quite magic, and she taught me a lot about herbs and nutrition and outside of the box thinking. Oh, look at you. And so I kind of put that there. The Mother's Magic thing is dedicated to her, and the skin and scarring. Again, it wasn't made to be a product. It was made to help my daughters, and it helps other people. And now it's a product, because when you have something that helps people,
you should share it.
You got to share it. You have to. And
that led to, of course,
the pain relief one, which was that was the pain relief one was actually, when I first put it together, it was for eczema and psoriasis. That was what it was first put together for, because I would get really bad eczema, and I haven't had it in years now. But I made it originally for that, and then my ex-wife had really bad psoriasis, so I asked her to try the cream on that. And then her sister tried it on her arthritis, and it gave her incredible relief on the arthritis. And I went, well, if people are going to use it for arthritis, that's more of a pain relief than a skin thing. So I added in different essential oils. I went with camphor and wintergreen and peppermint and things that go deep and relieve the pain as well. But at the same time, will also work with the eczema or any other skin disorders. And so that one came about that way.
So, and meanwhile, you're making these products for, your daughters, and you're still doing your own healing path behind all of this. You have a lot going on in those years.
Yeah, and the healing path after the dog attack. The dog attack was national news, international news, actually. There was even a little comedy cartoon made of it out of China on a news report. It got to ridiculous, and then I have identical twin daughters. I know a lot of people that will already know this, but I have identical twin daughters, and they struggle with addiction. And
I'm going to interrupt you right there, because that's a good spot to head to commercial, and then we can come back and we can hear about your identical twin daughters, who I had the pleasure of meeting the last time I was out there. Very beautiful ladies, by the way, and they have the kindness and compassion that their dad has, and that's very evident in meeting them both. But with that, it is break time, which means that we get to hear from our sponsors and pay some bills. And, so you are watching us, or me, really, with my guest. I'm on the wrong side, Steve Mather. And we will be right back in 3 minutes and 7 seconds here on cbgtv.com and Pace News, Pace Network. Holy Joe Jitzel. .net. We'll be back in 3.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
When you think of the number of unique products developed in the fields, kitchens, and labs at Legacy 420, it's hard to think that one stands out above the rest. But tell that to the thousands of people who have tried this amazing breakthrough product.
This is our Sacred Salve. This is actually our extra strength. It comes in 5 different strengths. It's all natural, all organic. It typically works within 10 to 15 minutes of putting it on. It's good for arthritis, it's good for inflammation, any kind of pain. We're very proud of it.
Sacred Salve, so easy to apply, along with soothing relief. To select a strength that's right for you, come in and talk to your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch, yes, watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Pace Radio Network, by patients, for patients, and for those who want to know.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com.
Let's share Pace everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And welcome back to the Mushie Moment. We are live here at paceradio.net and cbgtv.com and streaming just like all over the place. We're just like everywhere. So just, you can search us, you can find us. It's pretty easy. And welcome back with our guest on the other side. I'm used to being on the other side. Our guest, Steve Mather. And Steve was just starting to tell us before the break about his twin girls.
Yes. So I have twin girls and they battle with addiction. They have for quite a few years now. And after the dog attack, when the dog attack happened, it was kind of the beginning of when they were starting their battle with addiction. Well, they were battling with fentanyl at that point. That's when fentanyl had come into play. And not long after that, they end up on the Surrey Strip. It's an infamous strip of addiction here. There's the downtown east side and there's the Surrey Strip. They've cleaned up a lot of the strip now. But at that point, it was a pretty big tent city full of a lot of young addicts. A lot of addicts, period. It was, yeah, I'm still holding shit from that. But while they were there, Katie ended up becoming what I watched go across Canada. She became the new face of fentanyl. She was the first new face of fentanyl, and they did a little interview with her, and it went viral. And And along with that, I have to say the saving grace is the gentleman, Eric, the reporter that did the story, humanized her and did a beautiful job in humanizing her and changed the view of what a lot of people thought an addict was. The struggles are brutal. It's still a struggle. They've been in and out of recovery a few times. And it is an area that still holds trauma for me because it's an ongoing thing. And that's where the microdosing really plays a hand in keeping the over emotionality that the trauma makes me put into what is already an emotional moment.
Yeah.
And it just kind of compresses it down and makes it fit in. What we talk about my daughters, and you met my daughters, but what a lot of people don't know is I actually have a son as well. And he's an awesome kid. He's the youngest. He all of the explosion of the dog attack, the addiction, and all of the publicity, everything that comes along with it. Basically, the family exploded. And to keep himself safe, he's run away and disconnected from pretty much all of the family. Every once in a while, he still contacts his mother and lets her know how things are going. But in my healing, I'm learning, to begin with, I was like, wow, why would he just ghost me? Really? Just ghost me? It's been 5 years. It's been 5 years since he spoke to me. And the first few years, it really, really hurt. But as I've been healing and learning about my own trauma, I get to see also my dysfunctionalities. And I get to see the dysfunctionalities that I thought were functional while I was a parent raising my kids. And you get to see that you carry on some of the traumatic behavior that was done to you, but you don't seem to do it as bad as it was done to you, because therefore it makes it okay, because it's not as bad as I did, or that's what happened for me anyway.
Yeah, I got caught in that loop as well with my, my own, the way I treated people as well. Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
And I, in my healing now, I understand completely why he disconnected. He did what he had to do to keep himself safe, and he doesn't have tools in the toolbox. He was the youngest. So he's out there keeping himself as safe as he knows how. And in that, I recognize that, part of the issues I've got going on is because I was trauma and held my emotion, unless the emotion was to explode, then I was just passing on that behavior. I was motivating them to not want to be there. I wasn't teaching them how to emote properly. Now, my son says something to me at 6 years old. He says something to me that sticks with me till these days. He says to me, I'm in the middle of getting mad. And at that point, I'm a guy that yells. I yell and I yell loud. And I'm yelling, "Bah, bah, 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 bah." And he looks at me and he's complete innocence. No maliciousness, no trying to be a dick. And he says, Dad, if you got to yell to make yourself feel better, then that's okay. But you don't have to, because I'm right here and I'm listening. Now, in that moment,
smart kid.
Had I have not had trauma, I probably would have hugged him and told him I loved him. But instead, I continued to yell. I know I'm yelling. Of course I'm yelling. I'm mad. You're supposed to yell when you're mad. Are you? Or was that just the program I was given?
That's the program that we're taught.
Yeah, I'm learning that I have a lot of dysfunctional programs. And I'm hoping to repair most of them up. A lot of them are. I'm finding my peace. I'm finding the reasons for my behaviors. I'm becoming aware of them. I'm aware of my triggers. I'm doing my best to change them. I struggle to see the changes, but in watching you introduce me, and I want to say thank you, because that was a beautiful introduction, but it isn't somebody I see.
But it's who I see. And I think that I don't think I'm the only one of your friends that sees that. You know, you have incredible patience. You've shown me that since I've met you. Compassion, understanding, you know, and you do your best to understand too. And, you know, and I think I get where that comes from. That comes from wanting to be understood. So you put a lot of effort in to showing compassion and to understanding. And, you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one of your friends that truly appreciates that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You know, my lessons have been to observe, so I'm trying to observe more of me without the cynical and critical judgment.
Without your subconscious jabbering at you from the back. And yeah, we're you know, I've walked the path with you the last year, and you know, we have come across some medicines that help with that. You've come across them before in Mexico. I'm speaking of the Hape. But we have both discovered that helps to shut that little voice up.
Oh, I had no idea. You know, when I was when I was in Mexico and I was at a beautiful place, Madre Verde, and a beautiful little place in the jungle, and they used it. It was called rape there, and they used it on me. But I was in ceremony, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't really know what it was for. But since we did the Cambo, and you know, used a few different types, and since I out to me that I tend to still work within the realm of extreme, and you know, I was told, hey, no, do it this way, do it this way, do it. No, you that's a little much. You need to, you know, as I've learned to utilize the medicine as medicine and use it properly and not just mayhem my way through going, hey, what do we got here? You know, I have learned that there's subtle differences between them, and the differences. Well, today you know, there's a solar storm going on today, and today I was having a little bit of anxiety type energy coming on. It was weird. I'm like, I'm going to be on the podcast. I have no idea what she's going to ask me. Geez, I hope I don't look like a clown. You know, I start going into that mode. So, you know, I did my vitamins, I did my shake, I did my microdose, and I was waiting for everything to mellow, and it was like, no, I've got that rape or the Hape that we got at the book signing. Stephen's book signing, and this one is a cacao blend, and I found that you know, just a tiny little bit, and you sniff it up in there. The first thing it does, I've had nose issues my whole life. My nose has been broken a few times. I've had them run the drill up and redo my, you know, the holes in there and reconstruct inside and whatnot, and that ability to breathe through my nose is not always easy. But the one thing I found is the Hape clears everything out. It does two things immediately. It clears out my passages all the way through. I can feel the fluid in my ears run out. I can feel the nasal passages clear all the way through. And I find I fall into a beautiful rhythmic breathing pattern. It just puts me into a calm. And it's like, oh, okay. This is, because for me, that's quite a new thing. It's like, oh, okay. So now I know, you know, when this medicine will do me, is best suited for me. And less is more. You know, I'm a guy that didn't know what less was. My less was most people's more. That's where I'd start. All right, let's go. Woo!
I discovered. Yeah.
But I'm working on that, and I'm getting better.
I'm going to just pour half this bottle in my hand and do this, Cindy. No. Okay, it's not that extreme, but.
No, so the Hape, I've definitely found its place. I need to do more research on it myself because I haven't done any research on that. But in finding the magic of it, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I need to research how and why that's doing what it does.
Yeah. I've come to really enjoy the medicine of Hape as well, or Rape. And the difference is where you get it, to be honest. Hape and Rape are the same. Honestly, this one comes with the name Hape, and this one comes with the name Rape. They are the same medicine, just different tribes call it one or the other. Pronounce it one way or the other, really. Yeah, but it's beautiful medicine. So we're going to run out of time here shortly. I want to flash forward. You have, go backwards a little bit, but then flash forward. You have discovered and researched not just psilocybin mushrooms, but all mushrooms, put them together to help you with your healing process. Can now come up with 5 different blends. 4 of them are psilocybin microdose. The other one is just the immuno blend with no illegal mushrooms in them at all. You've created, you're making FICO, you're making these creams. And you come forward, you've now today have an abundance of different, through your research, an abundance of different products at At-Eze. You have done unbelievable ceremonies and journeys and healed and yourself and helped to heal others. I guess my next big question, and hopefully you can answer this in 10 minutes. What's next for Steve Mather?
I live in the now. I don't look ahead.
Yes, I can answer it about for 10 minutes.
Hey, sometimes I think I'm funny too. Well, I'm there's a few things going on. You know, there's what's next for Steve Mather. There's the what's next for At-Eze. The At-Eze is growing like crazy. The amount of people that say thank you is all I have is thank you for trusting us. And we're going to grow that to as many people as we can help heal. That's where that's going to go. For me, I'm still doing lots of research. I'm sure there'll be other products come up. I have my my nutritional expert myself that I carry some of his products, or we carry some of his products at At-Eze.com. Mm-hmm. That's the Biodefender and the NutriThrive lines, the incredible healing. It's all synergistic, everything complements each other and falls into whole healing. I've got a couple of books on the way. We've got a couple documentaries to still finish up. We've got the Campbell documentary to finish up. John and I are working on videos on the products and everything, so we can put them up. People can just watch the videos on what product does what, and get a lot of questions answered, etc. Then we got this podcast, and then John and I are putting a podcast together as well, and Be At Eze with John and Steve. And then I've got my own little podcast that I'm putting together, and then I got to fit time in to take my beautiful dog to the beach and hike along the beach with her, because she deserves that attention more than I deserve to be doing anything else.
Yeah, she's a beautiful pup. Absolutely. Good old Mika girl.
Hey, on that, there's another product, because she's 17 and a half, And we were going to put her down about a year and a half ago. She developed an inner ear disorder and vertigo, and she couldn't get up and whatnot. And then we booked somebody to put her down, and they were going to come to the house and do the loving thing. And it's it's brutal. It doesn't matter. It's brutal even if it's in the house. But anyways, we had them booked, and a buddy of mine said, "Well, are you trying your CBD on her?" And I was like, "What?" He said, "Use your CBD." I said, "Well, I used CBD before." And he said, "Yeah, but that's not that CBD. That one's a little hotter than that government stuff. So just try it, because dogs have an endocannabinoid system. Human doses of THC will kill them, but small doses will get their endocannabinoid system going." So I tried the CBD on her, and 24 hours before they showed up, she got up and walked to the door, and I phoned them and said, "Hey, I'm putting that on hold." I let her out. I kept using the CBD with her, and she kept getting better. And then I investigated the mushrooms, and they work on dogs as well. So I created a mushroom blend for dogs that also has powdered freeze-dried liver, glucosamine, chondroitin, and MSM in it. And here we are a year and a half later. She's 17 and a half, and she is still going strong. And the drops are called Mika drops, and the powder is called Puppy Power Plus.
Yes. And it has helped countless dogs now, not just Mika.
Yes, it has actually.
It has. Mika is an amazing pup. I really enjoy visiting with her when I'm there too. I got some pictures with her, and I hung out with her in her space there last time I was there.
Mika was the puppy in the ad that you did for the show, for anybody that doesn't know.
Yes, yeah, the picture that is Steve with Mika just the other day, actually out on the beach, where they will hopefully be heading soon after this is done. One last question for you, and this will probably take up the rest of the time. What was your favorite healing modality that you have done to date?
They all have different qualities.
Yes, but if you were told that you could go next week and do one, what would be the one that you would pick?
See, that's tough. If I wanted to just sit and resonate in the frequency of love, and know that everything's okay and life is beautiful, I would do Bufo. If I wanted to get way more data and information into my healing and where I need to go and to plow through whatever residual traumas are in the back of my mind, I'd be more inclined. I haven't done Iboga, but I've done Aya. I would be inclined Iboga or Aya for that. And the 5-MeO, they all have their special place. Honestly, I can't say, because each one gave me such a big insight. The mushrooms, even the well, my brain speaks more mushroom language. It's done it longer. It understands what the mushroom is trying to portray. I even had to use the mushrooms to plow my way through the data that I got from the 5-MeO and the Bufo. They all have their place. They all speak a different language. They all speak the language of healing. If I was just looking for a short journey in the realm of love, it would be Bufo. Does that kind of get in there? That's a tough question, really.
It is. For some, I would go for the 5-MeO in a heartbeat. It would be what I would, if somebody said, "Hey, Cindy, I can get you whatever you want to do next week." I would be 5-MeO. I'm not even going to question that at all. I now know that the toe that I've heard my whole life has been the Bufo alvarius. And I recognize that. And I get a lot of Bufo. I mean, I get data and I get love. And especially the last way that we did 5-MeO, that was everything. For me, it was everything in one, and it was absolutely spectacular.
See, and that's funny, because if it was the question of you could do anything next week, I would either go Iboga or peyote, the two that I haven't done the big journeys on.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, that would be the same for me. If I could go and do anything, it would definitely be peyote at this point in time. But I haven't experienced that, so I thought it was kind of a neat question to make you look at what you
What
have
we've
done
done. Yeah,
and
what we
which
have
one.
done. Bufo is beautiful because it's an essence of love that lets you, for me, it let me carry it for quite a while. It brings a peace and calm that just, oh, you're welcome. Yeah. The ayahuasca was a lot of struggling, but longer period to process the data. And, yeah, that's a tough question, really. It depends on what I'm looking for in the moment.
Yeah. Oh, like I say, for me, it would definitely be the 5-MeO all the way. I enjoy that one, and I always feel good when I'm done. Immediately feel good.
Yeah, that whether the 5-MeO was Bufo or the 5-MeO, yes, you'll always feel good after.
Yeah, either way. Yeah.
Or I do.
So if people want to ask you questions, I know that we've got the website scrolling down there, but if somebody wants to reach out and ask you questions about any of the products, how do they do that?
Well, you can get me at At-Eze.com. You can get me at Steve Mather on Facebook. You can hit me on, I've got a page on there called My Healing Journey, and you can look that up and hit me on that page as well. And my phone number is, no, just kidding.
That's as far as I'm going, he says. Well,
but
the
easiest way is At-Eze.com.
Yeah, for sure. And you can get all the information with the products there. And there's probably a million questions I could ask. You have so many products that we could go over and we could talk about. We are unfortunately at the end of our show. I'm sure I will have opportunity to interview my co-host once again in the future. And we can talk about maybe some of the modalities that you offer, some of the products that you offer and what they do, because there's a lot there. And you can help heal a lot. I know it's helped me with my diverticulitis. It has helped me with pain, swelling. There's just so much. So I know that there's a lot of information that we could share, but unfortunately we are at the end of the show. So thank you, Steve, for agreeing to be in the hot seat today and chat with me as a guest would. I very much appreciate you opening yourself up and doing that for us. And thank you to our viewers for joining us today. And today is, of course, May 16th, 2023. And we have been coming to you live from cbgtv.com and Pace. Oh, my goodness, I'm losing it again. Paceradio.net. And of course, and every area we stream, which is all over the place. You can look us up. We're on so many of the platforms. Thank you so much. Have a great week. And my co-host will be back next week, and we'll have an awesome guest for you. So have a great week, and we'll see you later.
Thanks for the interview. That was awesome.
Okay.
You didn't grill me half as bad as I thought.
Next time.
Bye, everybody.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partners 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBG TV, broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.